Hello students, in this session I am going to discuss on a topic from the paper 204 corresponding to unit 5 and subunit 2, and the title of the paper is Techniques of Evaluation. However, before discussing the techniques, let us first try to understand the concept of evaluation. So listen carefully. As students, you must have all appeared in various tests and examinations, and you see the outcome of the test in the form of numbers or marks. Now, these marks are meaningless until you compare it with your previous test performance or even the average marks of students in the class. So, you should be clear that the assignment of those marks or numbers by teachers or examiners is just the process of assessment or measurement. Evaluation, however, is different from assessment. With evaluation being conducted, a teacher or even a student will know how good or bad the performance of a student is. It therefore gives meaning or value to the number being assigned to a measured trait, and here a trait can be an achievement in science subject or any area that can be measured quantitatively. Therefore, evaluation means to assess the worth or value of a trait that is being measured and involves the assignment of symbols or marks in order to characterize the worth of the trait with reference to some standard. Again, evaluation is a systematic determination of a subject's merit, worth, or significance using criteria governed by set standards. It helps in decision making or to ascertain the degree of achievement or value in regard to the aims and objectives that has to be completed or accomplished. It is only after evaluation that a teacher can say that a student has improved in performance. It is also on the basis of evaluation that teachers can decide whether the objectives of teaching have been achieved or not. Now, several methods and techniques are available for the purpose of evaluation. Some are qualitative, others may be quantitative. The qualitative methods include observation, case study, appreciative inquiry, and so on. Qualitative methods include the achievement test, cohort study, questionnaire, and so on. Students, in this session, we'll consider only one technique, that is the achievement test. An achievement test is the most frequently used evaluation tool in the educational settings, and this belongs to the paper and pencil category. The term achievement has a broader meaning and refers to the acquisition of behavioral changes belonging to the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. In a narrow sense, it refers to the outcomes that are the direct focus of classroom activity. So, it is more or less synonymous with scholastic achievement. Thus, an achievement test is the tool that measure pupils' accomplishment resulting from learning or instruction in the classroom. It is often designed to measure the grasp of some body of knowledge and proficiency attained by the pupil in some skills. So, students, in order to understand better, let us consider a few definitions. According to N.M. Downey, an achievement test is any test that measures the attainments and accomplishments of an individual after a period of training or learning. Again, Thorndike and Hagen defines an achievement test as the type of ability test that describes what a person has learned to do. Further, according to Freeman, a test of educational achievement is a test designed to measure knowledge, understanding, and skills in a specified subject or group of subjects. Now, there are different types of achievement tests. Some of these are the pre-test, mastery test, diagnostic test, and the general achievement test. Now, pre-tests are tests that are used to determine if students have the necessary background to benefit from a course. They are given at the beginning of the course and are designed to judge the pupil's readiness and capability to take up a new course. The second test, that is the mastery test, are tests that are used to determine the extent to which the students have mastered the basic content of the course. They are in the form of terminal tests given at the end of the term. The third category, that is the diagnostic test, are tests which are used to determine the specific learning difficulties of the students. The main purpose of these tests are to identify the weakness of the students with a view to find or suggest or even adopt remedial measures. The fourth type, that is the general achievement tests, are used to evaluate the progress of students towards the attainment of objectives of the course. These are the most familiar tests used by teachers. They are used to measure the broad range of instructional objectives. The content included in the test has to be more comprehensive and representative. Thus, the difficulty level has to be more widely distributed. The general achievement test can be further subdivided into two types, namely the teacher-made achievement tests and the standardized achievement tests. A standardized achievement test requires uniform test content and testing procedure. It has norms which permits the comparison of the performance of students with the normative group or population. Teacher-made achievement tests are usually written, oral, or even practical tests. These tests of achievement are generally prepared by teachers and are likely to fit into the content and objectives of a particular course better than the standardized tests. Teacher-made achievement tests meet the specific requirement based on the activities carried out by the teacher in the class in contrast to standardized tests. The teacher-made achievement tests are class-specific and are often used to measure knowledge, comprehension, application, and skills gained by the students as a result of teaching and learning. Before seeing the procedure for construction of achievement tests, let us be familiar with few of the characteristics of a good test. So first of all, a test being prepared has to be directly related to the educational objectives. Further, a test should contain sufficient number of test items for each of the measured behavior. It should be concerned with important and useful matter. Moreover, a test should be comprehensive, brief, precise, and clear. A test should also so be divided into different sections measuring knowledge, skills, attitude, etc. according to the behavior to be measured. Now, in case we plan to prepare a standardized test, few more characteristics are to be considered in addition to the ones mentioned in the previous slide. So, in standardized test, a test maker has to standardize the items and make instructions clear so that different users can utilize it. Again, the rules and norms have to be developed so that various age groups can use the test at different levels. A test manual has to be prepared, which can act as a guide for administering and scoring. Now, keeping all the characteristics in mind, we now move on to the construction or preparation of the achievement tests. Construction of an achievement test is a sophisticated process requiring technical competence of high quality, deep understanding of the subject matter, and actual experience in teaching. Generally, there are 4 steps in the process of preparing an achievement test. These steps include planning, writing the questions, the item analysis, and lastly, preparation of the final form of the test. So let us see these steps one by one. Planning is the first step. In the preparation of an achievement test, it must be remembered that without proper planning, unimportant content may find place in the test, while important ones are likely to be ignored. Aspects such as reliability, validity, objectivity, and practicability should be considered. Certain decisions are to be taken in respect of number 1, weightage to instructional objectives. In this regard, the test constructor is to identify the objectives and put them in clear behavioral terms. Relative weightage are to be given to the objectives, and this is usually decided on the basis of weightage given to the objectives at the time of teaching. Weightage is usually given in the form of percentage. Say, for example, 20% is given to the knowledge criteria, 28% to comprehension, 20% to application, 18% to problem solving, and so on. The second consideration is the weightage to contents. Usually, it is seen that the course contents of any subject is large, and it is not possible to include all contents in the tests. So, an effort has to be made in giving fair representation of the entire contents. The third important area that requires attention is the form of questions or items. Generally, in teacher made tests, essay type, short type, and objective type questions are included. In standardized tests, however, it is desirable to include objective type items. The fourth area of consideration is related to the difficulty level of the items, that is, the distribution between difficult, average, and easy questions. The level of difficulty should be such that it is able to discriminate between high and low achievers. Mostly the questions of average difficulty are put in greater number in the test. Another important area to be considered is the number of questions. So, depending upon the difficulty level of questions and the time available, the number of questions to be included in the test is decided. Further, the testing time required to solve the different questions needs to be considered. The distribution of marks to be allotted to different sections of the test also has to be decided. When all planning has been done, it is then put in the form of blueprints for reference during preparation of the tests. So here you can see the sample blueprints. In these blueprints, areas such as weightage to instructional objective, contents, distribution of marks, and the number of questions are clearly seen. Now I move on to the second step, that is writing of questions. So after finalizing the blueprints, the next step is to write the questions. Questions are usually objective in nature. However, in teacher-made achievement tests, short answer and essay type questions are also included. While writing the questions, few principles that are to be followed include clarity of questions, then language. The language used should be simple, specific, and unambiguous. Questions may be of the supply type, that is, students will have to provide the response by writing, or questions may be of the selective type, whereby students can choose the correct answer from the given options. Most importantly, questions should fulfill the requirement stated in the blueprints. The test constructor may borrow question from books or question bank or frame one's own questions. The third step in the preparation of an achievement test involves the process of item analysis. Item analysis is the process of thoroughly scrutinizing the test in order to weed out technical deficiencies, content matter inaccuracies, and inadvertent defects in wordings. Therefore, in teacher made achievement tests, items or questions prepared have to be thoroughly scrutinized with regards to the framing of questions, then the number of questions or items, and even the difficulty level of questions or items. However, in case of standardized achievement tests, a more detailed procedure is involved, whereby the number of items being included in the test are usually more at the preparatory stage, which means that when we prepare, we have to include as many questions as possible. Then there is also the elimination of vague items. Then a pre-test is to be conducted, and then a tryout is usually taken to establish reliability of the test. The last step in the preparation of the final form of the test is the preparation of the final form of the test, as mentioned earlier. Here, it is to be noted that the items retained in the test are the ones cleared in the item analysis and specifically the pre-test. It should also be noted that the items meet the requirements of the blueprints. Further, the items are arranged and a final form of the test will emerge. The steps mentioned so far are limited to teacher-made achievement tests. However, in case of standardized achievement tests, various types of norms may be set, like age norms, percentile norms, etc. Teacher-made achievement tests are generally norms-free, which means that they are prepared according to the needs of the concerned teacher. So, students, through this discussion, I believe you all gain a basic understanding about the achievement test and its preparation. And it may be stated that although its preparation is a sophisticated process requiring technical competence of high quality, deep understanding of the subject matter, and actual experience in teaching, yet it is not an impossible task. If the steps of preparation are followed along with the principles, a good achievement test can be prepared. So, with this, I wrap up today's session. Do subscribe to my channel and join me again with more on environmental education content. Thank you.